The unexpected suspension of late-night television host Jimmy Kimmel has set off a storm of debate across the United States, raising profound questions about media responsibility, political speech, and the role of government oversight in broadcasting. On Wednesday, September 17th, ABC, a network owned by the Walt Disney Company, announced that it would be permanently discontinuing Jimmy Kimmel Live. Following remarks Kimmel made about the tragic death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The announcement came after chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, harshly criticized both Disney and ABC for allowing such remarks to air. According to officials at ABC, the network made the difficult decision to indefinitely preempt the long-running late-night program to preserve trust with viewers, advertisers, and affiliates. A spokesperson told USA Today that Kimmel's program would no longer appear in its nightly time slot. Reporters from Reuters noted that Kimmel was spotted on the evening of September 17, leaving the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, where the show is recorded, but he offered no comment and his representatives did not respond to inquiries. This silence has only fueled speculation about whether the comedian plans to issue a statement or fight the decision. The controversy erupted because of remarks Kimmel delivered on his Monday, September 15th broadcast, addressing the shocking shooting death of Charlie Kirk. The 30-year-old founder of Turning Point USA and a high-profile conservative activist closely aligned with former EIDE and My Adrenaline is former President Donald Trump. Kimmel criticized what he described as efforts by the MAGA gang to politicize the tragedy, with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. We hit some new lows over the weekend, Kimmel stated. His choice of words struck a nerve in a country already polarized by years of partisan media battles, and within hours, calls for his suspension dominated conservative commentary online. The case itself remains complex. Prosecutors in Utah have charged 22-year-old Tyler Robinson with multiple offenses, including felony firearm discharge, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and aggravated homicide. The precise motive behind the killing is not yet known, but speculation has been rampant. Kirk's death shocked conservative circles nationwide, given his prominence as the founder of a youth-oriented conservative organization that played a significant role in mobilizing Republican voters on college campuses. His influence extended into the highest levels of politics, making his loss all the more dramatic and politically charged. The involvement of the Federal Communications Commission quickly escalated the situation from a television controversy to a national political flashpoint. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, appearing on a YouTube segment hosted by conservative commentator Benny Johnson on September 17th, appeared to directly threaten Disney and ABC over their decision to air Kimmel's remarks. Carr described Kimmel's commentary as trash and warned that the FCC had options for dealing with broadcasters that fail to meet community standards. For Disney, this is a very, very significant problem at the moment. We have two options, the easy way or the hard way. Disney needs to make some changes here. But the licensed stations that are stealing their content need to take a stand and make it clear that, trash to the extent that it's not something that we believe meets the needs of our local communities in the future, Carr stated. He continued by saying there were already calls for Kimmel to be fired and that suspension or outright cancellation could be a logical outcome. His comments set off a domino effect among ABC's local affiliates. Nexstar Media Group, which operates 32 ABC stations, quickly announced that it would no longer broadcast Kimmel's show. Nexstar's broadcasting division president Andrew Alford said, "At a pivotal moment in our national political discourse, Mr. Kimmel's remarks regarding Mr. Kirk's passing are disrespectful and insensitive." The move by Nexstar was immediately followed by similar action from Sinclair Broadcast Group. On Friday, September 19th, Sinclair revealed that a commemoration program honoring Kirk would replace Kimmel's late-night time slot across its many ABC affiliates nationwide. Jason Smith, vice chairman of Sinclair, stated that Kimmel's comments were deeply insensitive and inappropriate at a critical moment for our country. He emphasized the responsibility of broadcasters to uphold civil and productive discourse and applauded Chairman Carr's willingness to challenge the dominance of major national networks. Sinclair went even further, demanding that Kimmel personally donate to Turning Point USA, the nonprofit Kirk founded, and offer a sincere public apology to Kirk's family. The swift cascade of reactions culminated in ABC's official confirmation that Jimmy Kimmel Live would be suspended indefinitely. While ABC used the word suspension, many political figures interpreted it as outright cancellation. Among them was former President Donald Trump, who celebrated the decision in a Truth Social post early on Thursday morning UK time. Great news for America, the ratings challenged. Jimmy Kimmel's show is canceled. Bravo to ABC for having the guts to take the necessary action at last. If it's possible, Kimmel's ratings are worse than Colbert's, yet he has absolutely no talent, Trump wrote. Trump has long been a critic of late-night comedians, accusing them of spreading partisan narratives, and his reaction underscored the highly political undertone of the controversy. He later added that the only late-night hosts left were Jimmy and Seth, two total losers. On fake news NBC and urged networks to remove them as well. The timing is significant, as the late-night industry itself is undergoing major upheaval. Ratings have declined steadily in recent years, with viewers shifting towards streaming services, podcasts, and social media content creators. Political polarization has become a defining feature of late-night comedy since Trump's presidency, with many shows leaning heavily into satire and political criticism. While this strategy has earned Emmy Awards and viral moments, it has also alienated parts of the audience and exposed networks to political pressure. Earlier this year, Stephen Colbert's Late Show faced its own controversy when CBS's parent company, Paramount, considered discontinuing the program while awaiting FCC approval for a corporate merger. That decision generated industry speculation about whether political considerations were influencing programming choices. The Jimmy Kimmel episode also raises serious legal and constitutional issues. The FCC traditionally regulates broadcast standards but has historically avoided intervening directly in editorial content out of respect for the First Amendment. Carr's pointed threats, however, suggest a new, more aggressive stance that could shift the balance of free speech and broadcast regulation. Civil liberties advocates have already warned that punishing a comedian for politically controversial remarks sets a dangerous precedent. Disney itself has reason to be cautious. In December, it paid $15 million to settle a defamation lawsuit filed by Donald Trump over comments made by anchor George Stephanopoulos regarding the E. Jean Carroll case. That costly settlement may have contributed to ABC's swift move to suspend Kimmel. The network faces increased pressure to avoid further legal entanglements. The wider cultural impact is also evident. In the days following Kirk's murder, numerous individuals across various sectors have faced consequences for how they commented on the tragedy. A Phoenix sports writer, a faculty member at the University of Mississippi, school staff in Idaho, Indiana, and South Carolina, emergency personnel, a theater professor, and other university staff in Tennessee, and even a Marine Corps recruiter have all been disciplined, suspended, or fired for social media posts deemed insensitive. This broader pattern suggests a climate where remarks about high-profile tragedies can carry immediate professional repercussions. Regardless of intent or context, the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel Live therefore cannot be seen in isolation. It represents the collision of multiple forces: the fragile economics of late-night television, the rise of political correctness and cancel culture, the power of conservative activism, and the growing willingness of government regulators to wade into content disputes. It has also intensified the partisan divide, with conservatives hailing the suspension as overdue accountability and liberals viewing it as government overreach that chills free speech. At the same time, the case raises practical questions about the future of late-night programming. Will Disney attempt to replace Kimmel with a less polarizing figure? Will streaming platforms pick up Kimmel if he chooses to continue his career outside of broadcast television? And how will networks balance the demand for edgy political satire with the risk of political retaliation? These are questions with no easy answers, but the events of September 2025 have ensured that the future of late night will look very different from its past for now. Sinclair's tribute to Charlie Kirk will fill the late-night slot on many ABC affiliates, symbolizing a cultural shift where the death of one of the conservative movement's rising stars is honored on a stage once reserved for comedy. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel's silence leaves the nation guessing whether he will issue an apology, fight back against what he may view as censorship, or retreat from the spotlight altogether. The episode has become a microcosm of America's broader struggle to reconcile free expression with accountability, comedy with tragedy, and entertainment with politics. What is undeniable is that the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel has already made history. A show that premiered in 2003 and ran for over 2 decades has been brought down not by ratings alone, but by a cultural and political firestorm that speaks volumes about the state of American media in 2025. Whether one sees the decision as justice or censorship depends largely on political perspective. But all can agree that the late-night landscape will never be quite the same again.